Welcome back. It's the final lap of the program, and we're turning our attention to the insurance industry. Of course, for most of the conversation today, somehow or the other, the industry has crept into the conversations. The oil and gas industry, for instance, has seen some companies divesting their onshore assets and going offshore. And so who are we getting to ensure this new companies who are onshore or who are taking over this onshore asset is the insurance companies here in Nigeria. And so industry reports have it that the sector has continued to see increase in gross premiums and the rest of it. But Bosun is back in the studio with me to take a look at these numbers. Bosun, thank you so much for coming back in. So, interesting time for the insurance industry. I remember that when we had this conversation a couple of months ago, I was very pessimistic, not optimistic about the insurance industry because I feel there's still an all-time low and appreciation of that industry. I had a conversation with a fellow from an asset management company, and he says that the reason why we've seen this kind of growth is because of the compulsory insurance that NICOM states that every individual should have, either individual or organization.
Yes, the part of the story from the industry regulator was that the policy of no premium, no cover has helped to ramp up the total premium income or written by the insurance firms locally. If you don't pay premium, there's no cover for you. That is the first thing. So that has helped to ramp up that. The second point was that there has been an expansion of insurance to low-income earning Nigerians. Some of these have been done via some of the telcos, some of the telecommunication companies have started doing that. And a few asset managers who are one time very big portfolio institutional investors are now offering insurance to Nigerians at very minimal rate, 5,000 naira, 1,500 naira,
1,000 naira
that are affordable for Nigerians. Some of the telcos are offering insurance at 500 naira to individuals and market women and traders and merchants and artisans. And these ramping up insurance premium. Again, if you pick up $1 off the floor, the way they put it in, Americans will put it, if every bus stop you find a piece of $1. Now imagine how many bus stops you have in Lagos. They'll just go around and pick up, you have more than 1,000. So in a day you could pick up $1,000. Now if you do that by 365 days a year, you come up with $365,000. Hold on a minute. Now if you translate that at 220 naira to the dollar, you know what we're talking about. That's a pile of cash. So if you take 500 naira off the market women, the street traders, the bus conductors and bus drivers and haulers and tanker drivers, you're going to come up with a very big basket of money. And that is the way insurance has to go. Now, that is a lot of critical thinking, change thoughts that the insurance companies are beginning to look at. Rather than sitting down and doing insurance the way banking had been done, that was why the insurance penetration in the Nigerian market is about 3%. We're still far below 5%. At 10%, we're just scratching the surface. However, on the bigger side of it, you find the oil and gas sector contributing to the business of total oil, gas assets. Again, you've seen the power sector, where the power generation and the power generators and the distributors are also buying assets. For example, the Ikeja distribution, the Ughelli power station. As soon as the private companies buy them, you will have to put insurance.
Okay, so let's talk a little bit more about some of those stocks that we got from the Nigerian Stock Exchange. For sovereign insurance now, that was like for their first quarter in 2015, their gross premium actually saw a 17% increase. Let's talk a little bit more about sovereign insurance. They've been on the market for quite some time, giving insurance and the rest of it. And this growth, with a net profit of 179.57 million naira, shows that these companies are kind of getting things right somehow.
If you roll back some of these insurance firms, 3 years ago, 5 years ago, perhaps 7 years ago, they weren't in a kind of a shape that you find them today. Almost at a point, almost all the insurance companies on the stock exchange were down to ground zero. 90% of them were down to par value back then at 50 kobo per share. with the exception of a very few of them. Niger Insurance, yes, was trying to hang in there. ICO Insurance, yes, one of the big boys. Considered an allied insurance, the mutual benefits. So if you look at the insurance segment on the market, you're looking at about 10 out of about, at the point there were about 40-something of them. They were more in number than the banks. Then you had the consolidation of that sector by NICOM that forces them. Then as soon as that consolidation process was concluded, then they had issues of reporting, okay, financial reporting, meeting reporting, and a number of them were turning reports to the regulator very late, and there were sanctions and sanctions on them. Right now, as we speak, according to NICOM, this is what we got as at the 14th of June this year, of this month. 40 insurance companies have submitted their 2014 financial accounts. 22 got approval for their results. That's about more than 50%. 13 of the results were awaiting response. One was undergoing a review according to this report. Now, that tells you that the level of reporting their financial statements and operations to the sector regulator has improved. Now, that is confidence building. Now, if we look at their stocks on the exchange, therefore, you begin to see investors reacting very quietly to this. Now, some change don't happen through the front door. Now, let's get that right. If you look at insurance, you're going to push them off with the back of your hand and say, look, I want to buy the banks, I don't want to buy insurance stocks. But again, if you look at how they're making money and they're coming back into business and they're reporting profit, look at Starco, for example, Standard Alliance. How much were they making? How much was it selling for? People just don't want to hear about those insurance firms. Now, the numbers, they're coming back, again, because of all these industry issues that's helping them to expand capacity. They're making more money, and again, no premium, no cover. And again, if you know Lagos State, for example, also has to enforce insurance for those who work on your building. So if you're building an office complex or is your home, once you give out to a civil engineer and whatever, the Lagos State government will require you to provide insurance for those who work on that facility. Now, if you look at the rate at which buildings are springing up all over Lagos, beyond Lagos into Ogun State and a few others, you find out whether they're religious places or whatever, place or whatever. Now, once building permit, there's an insurance. You buy a car, insurance is attached to it. They make it very easy for you. You can do it via your phone.
But that's compulsory insurance.
Now that is, if you allow folks to walk away, people will drive a car for 8, 10 years without insurance. Now it is compulsory because it's a front loading, not back loading. Not back, so it's a front loading. You load it front end such that you pay the insurance right there. Of course, you know, if you don't pay premium, there's no cover. So as soon as you renew your papers, okay, then your insurance is also automatically renewed, so you pay a lump sum. So it makes it easy for folks to just get insurance done for their third-party insurance. That is the basic, as it were.
But what about for families? You know, because you look at the situation that you're thinking to yourself that you have only one asset. Yes. And then you have a family with the father, mother, and 4 children, as the case may be. So in reality, you're looking at a total of 6 assets.
Yes, it should be insured.
But only 2 assets are insured. And so why is it that we still have this lackluster, let me use that term, attitude towards getting insurance for family, loved ones, or even friends?
Perhaps the folks, part of the solution should be to work with account opening within the banking sector. Perhaps if a First Bank, for example, I may use First Bank, the First Bank has a subsidiary or whatever that is an insurance firm, get them to add insurance to your account as soon as you open it. And if that is 10 naira per month, it's deducted like the charge on your ATM and it goes to a life insurance and automatically have a life insurance. It's something we can work out. We can write a paper, send it to the regulator. Perhaps it's something, a suggestion that they could implement.
Thank you, Wilson, for coming on the program and, you know, being such a cool anchor. But that's it on today's edition of the program. I'm Harriet Agbeni. Have a profitable day.